Hey guys, welcome to Admit 3, where we discuss all things movies, media, and television. I'm Laura.
I'm Kurt.
I'm Rob.
Thanks for tuning in. Hey guys, welcome back to Admit 3. Today we'll be discussing the aptly titled Cocaine Bear, which is about a bear who does cocaine and goes on a killing spree in a Tennessee national forest. This action comedy horror film was written by Jimmy Warden and directed by Elizabeth Banks. It stars Kerry Russell, O'Shea Jackson Jr., Alden Ehrenreich, and the late great Ray Liotta. Kurt, this is one of your most anticipated movies of the year. Did it live up to your expectations?
Yes and no. Yeah, you never want to start off with a no.
You did not.
It is a very fun movie. I really enjoyed it for the most part. The central premise is very fun. It's ridiculous and it leans into it being ridiculous, which is great. But there are a lot of plot lines that are kind of up in the air in this movie. And in that sense, I think it gets a little too far away from the Cocaine Bear, which is what everybody's there to see. But I do think that every time the Cocaine Bear is on screen, it's very fun. I was hoping that it would be violent, but I didn't. It's a really mainstream movie that's not really a horror movie, but it does have horror elements. So I wasn't really expecting it to be as violent and gory as it is, but it is. And I really loved that and admired that. I like they really went for it. It's got a few things in here that could have been left on the cutting room floor for me. What did you think, Rob?
I gotta say, I know you were super excited for this movie, and from watching the previews, I was kind of indifferent about it. I didn't think it was going to be something that really stood out, but I also didn't think it was going to be bad. I thought it was going to be, just average, standard movie.
You and Laura both. Laura said a couple of weeks ago, I think her exact words were, "I'm not fucking excited for the Cocaine Bear."
I think that is her exact words, and walking away at the end of it, I was very pleasantly surprised. I feel like I got a lot more enjoyment out of this movie than I had anticipated going in. I think you do. You make a good point when you say that there's a lot of different storylines kind of up in the air at once, like with the park ranger, her whole story with the kids that are stealing from her shop, and the guy she's trying to get romantically involved with. There's a bunch of little things like that where it does they're basically pointless little storylines when ultimately those are just nothing characters that are just meant to be killed by the bear for the most part.
Absolutely.
But
I do have to say, I feel like the ranger lady, her whole scene, is hilarious.
oh yeah,
She's so funny.
She did a great job.
She's
Fantastic.
I agree that some of the things that she, her storyline, some of the places it goes, didn't really fit in the movie, and they don't really go anywhere that pays off. But her performance in the movie is very funny, and some of the things that does happen with her character are super funny, super entertaining.
Yeah, when the bear is outside the door and she has one of the hooligans. There's a group of 3 hooligans that have been, I guess, terrorizing, you could say, the park, and she was talking about them earlier, and one of them was opening the door. And so he opens it and he's standing there and she's got a revolver pointed at the door and she shoots and she ends up just blasting this guy right in the head. And for such a gory moment, because it fully showed everything. It wasn't it happened off screen or anything. I mean, this guy just got capped right there. And everybody I swear everybody was blowing up with laughter. Everybody was just eating it up. And I thought that was so interesting to see, because normally you have a few people in the crowd that are just or they have that shock reaction, but everybody seemed to really enjoy the shock factor of that.
Yeah, although I didn't enjoy the massive amount of teenagers that were being absolutely ridiculous. I feel like every time we go to the movies, it's worse.
Especially with a genre picture. If it's something that has any little bit of horror in it, the young crowd is so annoying. And they make it like their personality trait. Like they're trying to be.
Oh
annoying.
yeah, you could tell that group. Every time like something would pop up on the screen, they would scream at the top of their lungs.
Yeah, it's so dumb.
For any teenagers out there, being annoying intentionally for the sake of it, it's not a good personality trait. It's not something you should aspire to do, because I guarantee you.
When you're 30 years old, you're gonna hate that shit. So knock it off.
And movies are expensive. We don't want to. We don't want to blow our money and have to deal with annoying ass teenagers all the time.
Yeah. So if you're 18 or younger, shut the fuck up.
I really enjoyed how it was more towards the beginning of the movie where the daughter of the nurse and one of her friends sneak off into the forest. They want to go paint the waterfall, and they find this brick of cocaine out in the forest. And the male kid, I guess one of the kids, I should say, is talking about how he does cocaine all the time with one of his friends or whatever. And the daughter,
these are very young kids.
Yeah, these are like 10 years old or something like that.
10 years old is pushing it, maybe even.
And the daughter is just like, no, you don't, and like basically testing him. And then she cuts open the brick of cocaine and she's like, all right, then do it. And he's like, well, I can't do it now. We're exercising. We're out in the woods. And normally in movies like this, like they shy away from stuff like this, like kids doing drugs or like kids getting killed. Normally, they'll be very apprehensive about doing something like this. But they had two little like 10-year-old kids take like a spoonful of cocaine each, which was hilarious.
I have to say, I was not expecting that.
I did not see it coming at all.
Yeah, I thought she would just be like, oh yeah, like obviously you're joking, like stuff like that, and then that would be the end of it, and like the bear ended up somehow getting the cocaine. I was not expecting these two little ass kids to be
shoving
taking
spoonfuls of cocaine in
off
their
a
mouth.
knife, mind you. Like
I love that though, because like when movies are willing to take chances like that, I applaud them because they're breaking the norm, and I thought that was so cool that they did that.
Yeah, it was very funny. I do wish that it would have kind of leaned into that a little bit more. That specific storyline of the kids doing cocaine, because like they do it,
but then you don't see how it affects
then
them.
you don't see how it affects them really.
Yeah.
Exactly. You just
and they took a lot of that shit.
Don't be mad at us. We did cocaine. And that's about it. That's the gist of it. It's very funny, and I'm glad that they, were bold enough to let that happen in like a mainstream movie. But I do wish that it would have leaned into that a little bit more.
Can we also talk about the turnout for this movie? There were so many people in our theater.
Right.
Yeah. I remember telling you guys that there was like a buzz online about this movie, and I thought it was going to, really be something that people were excited to see. But we've been seeing movies every week for the most part, all year long so far, and several movies even at the end of last year, and nothing has been as packed as this was.
Kurt really did say it though. He's like, "Oh no, everyone's gonna love this movie. Like everyone's gonna."
Well, I'm the most online.
Yeah. I'm like, this movie, like nobody's gonna give a shit about this.
I didn't expect it at all. When we walked into the theater and I looked at the crowd, I was like, "Holy shit! There's so many people in here."
Yeah, it's the worst when you pick out seats, and whenever we pick seats, we pick like one empty seat in between each of us, so like we don't have to be surrounded by people. And then we got two people that picked seats right next to the edge. I'm like, damn it.
Yeah, we got sandwiched between everybody, and I really don't want to spend this entire podcast dogging the crowd that we saw this movie with.
Right. Yeah.
Everybody we got stuck beside were so goddamn annoying. The couple that I was sitting beside, they were talking throughout the entire movie about things that had nothing to do with the movie. Like, I swear to God, she was fucking talking about filing her taxes or something. And at the end of the movie, when Kerry Russell's character, the mother, is like swimming out into the river and she's trying to save O'Shea Jackson Jr.'s character who's been shot in the neck, the little kid's like, it's okay, she's a nurse, she can save him. And the woman next to me is like, what is this random woman doing? How can she save him? How's this random woman going to save a gunshot wound? And the man that she was with was like, she's a nurse. And he was like, the kid just said that she was a nurse. And she's like, oh, I thought the kid said that she was a Norse. What the fuck is happening here?
I have to say that little kid does an awesome performance too.
Which one?
He's very funny.
Yeah.
Oh, the okay.
The very little one. I don't even
Little
remember
boy.
his name.
Henry, maybe?
Sounds right.
I think both the little kids did a good job, but yeah, he
Yeah.
was great. The lines they gave him to work with were very funny, and his performance was very good.
Yeah. And neither of them
Speaking
are
of-
in the movie, like, very much.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's not like a kid-centric movie, but they're very funny when they are on screen.
When the mother walks into the ranger station and they end up going on the hike to find him, and they find him in the tree.
Yeah.
He's up pretty high, and then the I don't know what is he? He's not a ranger. He's like the wildlife
Wildlife.
expert, project
He's like,
manager.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, he's some sort
higher
of
up dude,
wildlife
yeah.
expert for sure.
He's like a preservation
He ends
guy
up
or something.
falling onto
The cocaine?
the cocaine and gets high. So he's like running up this tree,
Yeah.
and he's like, and then the little kid's like, no, was it the mother that said bears can't climb?
I think it was the little kid.
It was the little
that said
kid, yeah.
bears can't? He's like, yes, they can. The little kid looks under him. He's like, then why did you come up here? I thought that was probably one of the funniest things.
I thought it was very funny. And I love the scene. The wildlife expert is played by, I believe his name is Jesse Ferguson, who was in Modern Family. So he's, a well-respected sitcom guy. When the bear, sniffs the cocaine that's on him and climbs up the tree and attacks him, he's hanging upside down. He's like, but we don't see him being attacked. We just
Yeah.
see like the blood
The blood,
dripping
yeah.
down his face while he's hanging upside down. The whole time, it's so funny.
There was one point, I don't remember exactly what spooked him. Maybe it was seeing the bear or whatever, but when he's up in the tree and he makes like this weird, like scared sound and his like feet are shaking and it was just
Yeah,
so funny.
yeah,
The noise he made.
The foot
Yeah, it was
shaking.
after-
It was so funny.
It was after the little boy was just like, then why did you climb up here? And then he realized how high in the tree he was, and he was like, oh, God.
Oh my god, that was so funny.
I think this movie in general was
Yeah.
very funny. I
Yeah.
think there are some jokes that don't land. The thing I can compare this most to is Megan, which came out earlier this year, which is an intentionally silly, campy kind of movie. I think this leans into that camp more so than Megan does.
Yeah.
But all of the jokes, the silliness, that doesn't exactly land every time, which is fine. I still love that it went for it. And more often than not, it does hit. But there are, I will say, some moments of humor that fell flat for me, and a lot of random things are happening throughout the movie, which is, fun, but all of it's not.
The thing I really didn't understand the most was the detective and the dog.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, I really want a dog to like play
Yeah.
fetch and whatever, and then he ends up. I don't understand.
I think that was just supposed to be like a humorous subplot.
I thought so too.
But it wasn't
was
funny though.
I
Actually, I
thought
thought that was very funny.
pretty
I thought it was
yeah.
one of the funnier subplots of the entire
I really
movie.
enjoyed it.
Yeah, I thought it was very
thought
funny.
that part was totally pointless, and it didn't need
He's
to be
dying,
there.
like, is she a good girl? It was so funny to me. That was, I think, one of the subplots that I enjoyed the most was this
Interesting.
tough detective guy and this little, and it's like a girly dog.
Did you
which is even
guys-
funner.
When his partner, whatever,
Did we see it coming?
yeah, did you know? As soon as they were just like, he was like, yeah, haha, she's here. Immediately, I turned, and I was just like, she's with them. Did you guys get that same reaction?
I don't think I really thought about it at all.
Yeah, as soon as she was walking down the hill, I'm like,
This might be the only time
No,
Laura's
that's
gotten it before us because I had no idea. I didn't think it was kind of weird that they weren't like reacting too much to her walking out, but I didn't like think, oh, she's with them.
you know what it was? It was the smirk on Ray Liotta's face when she was walking down the hill. He's like, because the detective that was up on the gazebo bleeding out, he was just like so excited that she was there, and then you just see Ray Liotta like,
Do you know who I think had such a good performance in this movie? And every time he was on screen, it was just, there was a lot of humor. It was very entertaining to watch. Ice Cube's son, it was O'Shea
Jackson Jr., yeah.
O'Shea Jackson. He was so good. Like in the bathroom stall when the three kids walk in and they pull out the knife and they're like, "Are you afraid?" or whatever, and he's like, "No."
Yeah.
He was just so
do you
good.
think this is a joke? Yes.
What's funny, on the way home last night after watching the movie, I was like, yeah, that was Ice Cube's son to Robert. He was like, that's so funny because so many of his mannerisms reminded me of Ice Cube.
I was like, this guy reminds me a lot of Ice Cube, but I didn't want to say that because I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
And then he said that it's Ice Cube's son. I was like, well, that makes sense.
Ray Liotta, I really liked him in this movie. I thought he was giving for what the movie is, he was giving a good, performance. And he's such an icon, first of all. There's something so fun for me that, the first time when he started really taking off, it was after Goodfellas. And, he's coked out of his mind for so much of that movie. And then for his final film appearance to be Cocaine Bear, like, it was full circle. And I've heard he had such a fun time filming this movie. And, I hate that he's passed away. It's sad. He's an acting legend. But it's so fun that this is his final performance. And he was clearly having a fun time on screen. And it seems fitting that it had something to do with cocaine. And he's like literally disemboweled.
And the baby bears are eating his
feasting on his intestines, and he's just like,
I have to point out, much to my dismay and embarrassment, that I didn't know that he actually passed away.
Yeah.
And at the end of the movie where they said, in loving memory
Yeah.
of Ray Liotta, I thought it was like a joke, like a very meta joke, because he died in the
in
movie.
the film. Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's kind of funny, and then we were in the
Yeah.
car talking about it. I was like, oh, fuck, he's actually dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, he passed away
This was his
last year, the
film,
year before.
wasn't it?
I believe this is his last film. It could be, maybe he shot something that's coming out later.
Yeah.
As far as I know, this is his last film. Another actor who I thought was really fun in this movie, I believe his name is Scott Seiss.
One of the hooligan guys.
He played
The son?
the EMS guy, the ambulance guy.
Yeah.
He really took off on TikTok, I think last year, as like the IKEA furniture guy. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Where he's like he like makes these videos
Yeah.
where
I
he's
haven't
talking about
seen
IKEA customers.
Yeah, yeah.
They're
They're actually very funny.
They're very funny, and he's also a stand-up comedian. I've never seen him in another movie. I'm not sure if this is maybe his first movie, but I thought he was very good here.
Yeah.
He's only in the movie for fucking 5 minutes probably, but he's so funny. But also there are a couple of moments within that 5 minutes where he's supposed to be afraid, and his eyes are watering, and he really looks scared. I'm like, oh man, this guy's actually a really talented actor. Like, he's giving one of the better performances in the movie. So I'm really expecting him to take off after this and start being more things. I thought he was very fun, and that scene was very fun. The ambulance scene.
Oh, that was great.
Oh my god,
That
it
was
was
great.
so fucking good. It's gonna be. We watch a lot of horror movies. It's going to be hard for that kill scene to be topped. I think this year.
Probably one of my favorite parts in the film.
Yeah.
And they're just like, what is wrong with that bear? As it's like just chasing them at max speed.
She's shooting and hitting nothing, and he's like, shoot the fucking bear, not the tree.
I think that was
what's
like
funnier
the.
is when he jumps on,
Mhm.
he's like, I barely even He's like, why do you have a gun?
I
And then
think
he
that was
sees
the
the
most
bear.
perfectly balanced scene in the movie because it's so funny and I was laughing the whole way through, but it's also so thrilling. You're like, holy shit, what's gonna
Yeah.
happen? And I mean, we saw the slow motion bear jump in the trailer, so we knew that was coming.
And then she,
But what happens
Yeah.
once that happens, I was like, oh
she's
shit.
on the gurney. And
Yeah,
she
she's
just
on the gurney.
flies
Oh.
out and then like,
Her face drags and bounces
Yeah.
across
She
the road.
sandpapered.
Oh my
Yeah, that was
god.
horrible.
That's a
And then you really
Fucked up way to
see that actor Scott Slice, like you see his character really getting attacked.
Yeah.
And his like
His,
hands like hanging off
you see his, like,
wrist.
The whole
wrist,
crowd in the
yeah.
theater when he holds up his arm and his wrist
Yeah,
just
and
kind of
it's
like
like-
folds
Ugh.
and his like bone is sticking out. The whole crowd was like, "Oh!"
Ugh. Also, can we just go like rewind to when they first get there and we're like, this was called like they called in a concussion, and
Yeah.
they see the guy's like head was blown off,
Yeah.
but the ranger who's sitting on the floor, she can like barely speak.
Yeah.
She has the stethoscope. At first she's listening to her horror, and then for some reason she can't say bear without the stethoscope
Yeah.
right up to her fucking
Yeah.
mouth, and then he just bear blasts into this
Yeah.
bitch's ears, and then she's like, comes out of the closet.
Also, I gotta say, if you're trapped underneath a door and a black bear jumps on top of it, I think you're pretty much dead right there. The weight of a black bear jumping on top of a door with you underneath it.
Also, when he lays on that guy and
Yeah, your rib cage would just be powder. You'd be fucked.
I do have to say that one, I forget his name, the one like hooligan, the one that ends up trying to show them where the
I don't
bag
remember
is.
what his name is.
He's absolutely hilarious.
He was very funny.
When the bear lands on Ray Liotta's son,
Yeah.
and they're just laying there, he's like trying to push him off. He's just like, he's just not moving. Like, he doesn't give a fuck. He's like, what if he wakes up? It's like, I just want to get out of here. No fucks given.
His
Love
character was very funny. I'm kind of glad they kept him alive, even though I briefly talked about this with Kurt. Like, I don't know how they would turn this into like a series where they make multiple movies of this, and like, I mean, obviously they kept a bunch of characters alive, so they could potentially, but story wise, I don't see how they would pull it off.
I was thinking in the end that one credit scene where he has that you can see he has a duffel bag and he's like hitchhiking. He throws it in the back. I'm wondering if maybe the bear will like follow the scent of the cocaine to him wherever he's going.
Wherever he's going. He's like across the country.
I do also think it's very funny that he threw it in back with the sheep
goat. Yeah, with the
or
sheep.
whatever,
Yeah.
and then he jumps back out and he's like,
he's like, look,
no.
he looks out like he doesn't something. Yeah, that was very funny. I'm not sure how they would do a sequel to this movie. I think if our audience last night was any indication, this is going to be a very successful movie.
Yeah.
Especially for it's modestly budgeted. I believe I read it was like $25 to $30 million budget.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be successful. People are seeing it. So that maybe they want to make a sequel. I'm not sure how they will do it.
Right.
But I have seen there was an incident that happened pretty recently where there was like cocaine in the ocean and a shark ingested cocaine, and Elizabeth Banks was like, "I would love to make Cocaine Shark."
That's gonna be the sequel.
Yeah, that's funny to me.
Animals.
Like I thought about the thought of a different animal ingesting some sort of
Like
drug and
Jaws
going on
on
a killing
cocaine.
spree. Yeah, like maybe there's like Cocaine Shark or something, or another animal that does cocaine, and then maybe Cocaine Bear and that animal end up facing off.
Like teaming off in the third one.
And just really like lean into the absurdity. I'm all for it. I thought this was a very fun movie, and so if they want to make fucking Cocaine Kitten next year, which I don't care. Give animals cocaine, and I'm there to watch it.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, what other movies has she done? Because
Elizabeth Banks.
yeah,
Charlie's Angels.
She did direct the reboot of Charlie's Angels.
I haven't seen the reboot. I saw the original.
pretty good.
But
As an actress, Elizabeth Banks has been
Many things.
in literally everything.
like what?
She
Give me
was
some examples.
She's in a lot of like the Seth
Hunger
Rogen related.
Games.
She's in the Hunger Games. She's in Role Model. She's in the 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yeah, she's in a
In
lot.
She's in Role Models?
She's in Role Models. She's Paul Rudd's
Attorney.
girlfriend in that movie.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Wow. I had
Which,
no idea.
Shout out to Role Models. I think it's underrated. It's one of the
Yeah,
funniest
it
fucking
is
movies
very
I've ever seen in
That's
my
a great
life.
movie, yeah.
But yeah, Elizabeth Banks is in everything. Zach and Miri make a porno. She's
Yeah.
fantastic.
She's in a bunch.
I've never heard a
She's
bad
very
thing about Elizabeth Banks ever. Everybody loves Elizabeth Banks, and I'm so happy for her as a director that this
Right,
movie
yeah,
is
it's
clearly
gonna be
going to be
so good.
successful.
Yeah, she's had to fight hard for that position.
You were talking about how the budget for this movie was, not crazy
Yeah,
high.
not crazy. Yeah, modest budget.
And I gotta say, like, one of the only qualms that I have with this movie, other than, having a lot of subplots, was that the CGI for the bear at some times wasn't the best. At some points, it was really good.
Yeah.
Like when the mother, the nurse character, is standing behind the tree, and you see the bear claw the side of the tree, and it's like dragging its claws. That scene,
Yeah.
the CGI was very good. But other scenes where it does the close up of the bear's face in CGI, you could really tell, obviously, that it's animated and it's not the best. And I would say that is probably one of the only points in the movie where I find issues with it.
I thought it was pretty good though. Like it could have been way worse.
Absolutely. I mean, especially for the type of movie this is. Usually with these types of movies, like they're very low
Yeah.
budget, very low quality, but I feel like they really put in the effort for this one.
Yeah, like when one of that guy, the male paramedic, when he opens the door that like the blood seeping
Yeah.
under, and then you just see
And
the
the bear
bear
comes out of
walking
the corner in the shadow.
corner
Yeah.
with like the blood and whatever dripping from his face. I thought that like the bear looked pretty cool in that scene.
I also like, speaking of the bear, I like that we, in a way, end up rooting for the bear by the end of the movie.
Well, yeah,
When-
because
There are only villains left, really.
Ray
And-
Liotta's trying to kill its baby.
Yeah.
Damn.
And he's beating it with a rifle.
Right, yeah. And then he's like trying to get his son to, he's like, shoot the damn cub. And he's like, no.
Yeah, can't do it. They're cubs, man.
Yeah, they did a great job with redeeming the the characters that otherwise would have been like bad characters in any other kind of movie like this, like a horror movie or slasher movie,
Yeah.
where they'd just be expendable. Like Ray Liotta's son in the movie, and what was his O'Shea Jack? Was that his name?
O'Shea Jackson Jr.
O'Shea Jackson. They're the type of characters
O'Shea
where
Jack-
obviously they're like drug dealers and they've got a lot of
Yeah.
issues. Also, the joke with like the wife that passed away for Ray Liotta's son was so funny. He got the tattoo that's supposed to say
Yeah,
Joan, and it
that's
says John. He's like, I can't get a new one. I gotta wait for it to
7
heal for 7 days.
I heard Laura really cackling.
It
at
was
that in the
very,
movie.
very funny.
I was like, that is such a Laura
it just
joke.
rips his shirt open. He's like,
Her name was Joan.
And when they're in the car and they got the songs playing, they're like sad, sappy music,
Yeah.
and it's just like everybody knows what's gonna happen. He starts crying. It's just, it's so funny. I
do you
think
want me
that
to
was
turn
really
it
good.
off? No! Speaking of O'Shea Jackson Jr., when they're all at the gazebo, that whole...
Yeah,
And the detective shoots his hand
yeah.
and ends up shooting two fingers
Yeah,
that aren't,
that aren't connected.
aren't next
What is
to
it?
each
It's the
other.
pointer in the ring, right? Yeah, the pointer in the ring. The
And then-
guy that you loved was even, he was like, how'd that even happen? Those fingers aren't even next to each other.
I think that really like...
That was very
oh
funny.
my god! And then at the end with the dog, there's like, what are they eating? And then
Oh, yeah,
it was
that was
his
nasty.
fingers.
That was one of the credit scenes, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that was
They're like,
one of
oh,
the
he wouldn't,
credits,
they
yeah.
wouldn't have been able to put it back on anyway.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Yeah, it was pretty gnarly. I mean, at that point, like you said, they were going to reattach it anyway. You pretty much have to put them on ice, like as
Yeah,
soon as it gets
immediately.
severed.
Immediately.
One of the things that really made me laugh too, near the beginning of the film, it kind of starts. It starts with this guy who's like throwing cocaine out of an airplane, and he's
I
like
forgot
doing
about that.
these karate moves. I was really laughing about that. And he tries to jump out of the airplane and parachute, and he slips and bumps his head, and that's how this all starts. But it cuts from that, and it has like a clip from like a paragraph from like Wikipedia about bear attacks, and it was,
Yeah.
But then immediately following that is showing what I believe to be real
News footage?
news like anti-drug
It seemed
things
like it. I
about
thought the same
cocaine.
thing.
Yeah.
And one of the clips was this guy who's like doing cocaine is like putting the loaded gun in your mouth
I think he says
and
crack.
pulling the trigger.
I think he says doing crack is like putting a loaded
Whatever
gun.
he says,
It's very-
I
it was very funny.
really fucking laughed at that. It
This
was
is your
so funny
brain
to
on
me.
drugs.
Yeah. It's actually really funny the amount of people that laughed after it said like where that quote was from.
Yeah,
that was
Wikipedia.
Wikipedia. Everyone was laughing.
I think other than the teenagers who just had to overreact to everything and make it way more, excessive than they needed to, the crowd we got was like a really good crowd to have.
Yeah.
Like they,
Well, the teenagers and the people who were beside me. I'm not gonna let them get off that easy. They sucked. AMC Danbury, and you were in G14. Fuck you. Oh,
if you guys had to pick one character in this movie who you thought was your favorite, who would you have to pick?
the cocaine bear.
The Cocaine Bear aside, because obviously that's
The cocaine bear aside,
Yeah,
the little boy, maybe.
yeah.
Yeah, little boy was funny.
I really liked I don't even know his name. The hooligan that was like obviously,
The only one that
He had a
survived.
rose lemon.
yeah, very flamboyant and
Hooligan
like
number 3.
Whoa, flamboyant. What are you trying to say?
Whoa.
with the outfit
No,
and
I
everything.
understand.
Yeah, no.
It was
It's
the
actually
80s.
I would say he was very funny. So, also O'Shea Jackson Jr. He was very comical.
This is the first movie I've seen with O'Shea Jackson. I thought he absolutely killed it. All the scenes that he was in, I thought he played such a great comedic role in. It was amazing.
Yeah, I agree.
If you guys were pitching the sequel for Cocaine Bear, and you had to choose one animal to be high on cocaine and go on a killing spree, which animal would you choose?
We could choose any animal
Like
we want.
Any animal, yeah.
Cocaine elephant.
Cocaine elephant.
Just
Yeah.
trample over everyone.
Elephants are like some of the scariest animals. They're fucking huge.
Yeah.
At least male elephants, like bull elephants. They're fucking huge. They're very aggressive. I can't imagine what one would be like on cocaine, but I'm guessing it would not be fantastic for anybody that was close by.
Side note: I heard that when elephants see humans, that they think we're cute. Because we're so tiny. I don't know how anyone would ever know that. But that's what I've heard. If I could choose any animal, I would say maybe a lion. I would say they would be pretty ferocious.
I should have prefaced this by saying, do we know, does cocaine affect like every animal? Like a certain animal? What would like a cocaine crocodile be like?
Cocaine
Cocaine-adile.
Cocaine-adile.
I really hate alligators and crocodiles.
I love them, but they're
I think it's
terrifying.
because I also hate snakes because they can be on land and in the water at this like.
Not all snakes.
But some, and I
Yeah.
hate that.
No, I fucking hate snakes.
I love
this
reptiles.
movie kind of in a way reminds me of Snakes on a Plane though. Like it's that
Yeah,
kind of,
I could see that. Yeah.
which I love. I know a lot of people don't like Snakes on a Plane, but I think that movie's so fun. I think this movie's so fun. Speaking of like crocodiles, I'm not sure if they're crocodiles or alligators in the movie. Probably fucking alligators. But you guys haven't seen Crawl.
No,
I
I
haven't
haven't.
seen it.
It's
I
so
think it's an alligator.
it's so fucking fun. And like I was like on the edge of my seat during that movie. So we have to watch that sometime. It's mandatory.
I've seen Lake Placid.
If I have
Does that count?
No, it's not the same fucking movie.
I did like Lake Placid though.
Lake Placid's very fun.
Betty White at the end, just like
Crawl
beating the littles.
Crawl's not quite as silly as Crawl's not quite as silly as Lake Placid, but it's very good for like a fucking, animal attack movie. It's very good. You guys, I'm sure, would like it. I think for cocaine animals, I don't really have a serious answer. I didn't think I was going to ask this question until I asked the question, so I wasn't, prepared for it. But I was thinking of animals that I can pair with the word cocaine, and I thought of Cokangaroo Jack. So I'm going with a
Oh my god, I don't even want to think
Cokangaroo.
of a kangaroo on cocaine. Those things are jacked.
Not all of them.
From jacked to cracked.
Oh my god. I don't want no.
I'm obviously I have to do more research because I don't know if every animal can be affected by cocaine. I'm not sure.
Yeah, research. Google it right now.
I won't do that right now.
Which animals can be affected by cocaine?
I will say that it would be interesting to see like a funny, adorable, cute little animal
Yeah.
with affected by cocaine that like does
Puss
all
in
this weird
Boots,
shit.
and it's animated.
Or like a chipmunk or something stupid like
Yeah.
that just like assaults people.
I just want Cokangaroo Jack to be like in Australia.
Cokangaroo
It's gotta be set in like Australia. Like good night, mate.
Good night.
Elizabeth Banks, if you're listening.
Yeah,
Cokangaroo
Cokangaroo
Jack.
Jack.
I know in a lot of these episodes we like before we do the final ratings we'll ask like a question and we didn't really have anything set up, but
Kurt just asked one.
Yeah,
that
we
is
can
true.
ask
We've
another
asked a couple questions.
Double question.
I have a question not necessarily pertaining to this movie, but we've been going to the movies basically every single week. Laura's been on vacation the past week, so she didn't go last week.
Where'd you go again, Laura?
New Hampshire.
You fuck that.
So Laura didn't go last week. She hasn't seen all the previews that we've seen, but there's a lot of movies that I'm really excited about, and I would like to hear some of the movies that you guys are most excited about.
I would say that the one trailer that gets me every time I watch it is Evil Dead Rise, because I know it's just gonna freak me the fuck out.
I cannot wait for Evil Dead Rise. I've seen all the other Evil Dead movies. I'm
Yeah.
a big fan. I can't wait. Have you seen any of the Evil Dead
I've
movies?
seen the first one.
The first,
The first remake.
the first, so the reboot that came out.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
I haven't seen any of them.
He
not a
hasn't.
single
Rob
one.
hasn't seen any of them.
None.
I'm
Wait,
excited.
am
They're
I
so
thinking of the
much
same
fun.
one, Evil Dead, the one where at the end, just like the chainsaw and the truck outside? Am I thinking of the same? Is that the movie?
Chainsaw and
truck
truck
outside.
Like
Texas Chainsaw
they're at
Massacre?
some kind of cabin.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
okay, yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of them, and I have to agree. Evil Dead Rise, I'm very, very excited for. I think it's gonna be and Scream 6.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna be
Yeah.
so fun.
I'm very excited for Evil Dead Rise. They're very, those movies are, you know, very over the top and gory and fun. And the joke is, you know, how can we take this even more over the top? So I can't wait to watch it. I can't wait to watch it with you guys, especially Rob, who's never seen a single Evil Dead movie. Scream 6, I can't wait. I'm a huge Scream fan. This is probably my most anticipated movie of the year, even though I wasn't even a huge fan of the last Scream.
one, yeah.
I thought it was, you know, fine. But this one being set in New York City,
And I do appreciate that the same guy that voiced Ghostface is they still have him, because his voice is
They
Yeah,
do a good job.
absolutely.
Yeah.
so I'm really looking forward to Scream 6. Next week, I'm really looking forward to Creed 3. The Rocky franchise is probably my favorite movie series of all time.
unfortunately for Kurt, we did not watch all of them.
Rob
he
watched
wanted
Rocky.
us
We
to.
watched Rocky 1
Rob
the
watched
other
Rocky
week
while
with
you were
Sherry.
going to New Hampshire.
I've seen the first one.
You've seen the first Rocky or the first Creed?
First Rocky.
Okay.
I didn't mind the first Rocky. I thought that it was a good movie. I think that I told Kurt and Sherry, I think it is dated. Obviously, it came out in what, the 70s?
Yeah, like 76 or something like that.
I think if I had watched that movie in the 70s when it came out, I would have been fucking blown away. And I still thought it was a decent movie. By today's standards, it's a little bit harder to judge it. But I still thought it was good. I mean, obviously, what is there, 6 Rocky movies?
There's
and
6
two-
Rocky movies and 2 Creed
two
movies.
2 Creed movies.
I haven't
So
seen any of the Creed ones.
I
That's
don't think it's going to work out that we watch all the Rocky movies and all the Creed movies before we go next week. But I do think we have to. Whoa! You almost knocked your glass over. I think we have to watch the Creed movies before we go see Creed 3. Fortunately for us, they're calling for snow on Tuesday, so we're
This is
probably
snow
all
day
going
Creed
to be lucky to have
marathon.
a snow day. We'll have to maybe watch Creed and Creed 2. We might have to watch Rocky 4 beforehand. It ties in. It ties into the Creed movies incredibly. But also, you know, Creed 3 I'm excited for. And I also want to shout out 65 by the
Yes.
writers of A Quiet Place, starring Adam Driver with fucking dinosaurs.
There's so many hype movies
can't
coming out.
fucking wait. And it's all within like the next
I
like 2
know.
to 3 weeks. I cannot
I
wait.
do have to say that one film with the dogs, I don't even remember.
Strays.
oh
Strays.
yeah,
That looks hilarious. And
really?
oh my god, yeah.
I think it
What?
looks funny too. I think some of it looks very cringy and like something.
Well, I mean,
It's like something
I know,
that I would find
obviously
funny.
It's like a dumb movie, but I feel like
Yeah.
it's gonna be so funny.
Yeah.
Like
It's something. I
freaking
think if I
have to
watched
bite
that as a
his dick off.
teenager, I would have found it. The premise alone would have been the funniest thing in the world to me. As far as the trailer goes,
It was
the
very
opening of the trailer where he's like, "My owner loves me," blah blah blah, and the owner is like, "Would you shut the fuck up?"
I did.
That is so funny.
I do
When
think
it gets to the biting his dick off and them humping like the garden gnomes or
Yeah,
whatever,
tripping on mushrooms.
I'm not sure how I will feel about that now in my current state of existence. But I am excited to see it. I love everybody involved, so I'm excited.
Yeah, obviously we're gonna watch it. We'll see, how it is actually in person watching it. But something like that is like Kurt said. If I had watched it when I was younger, I would have probably ate it up and been like, "This is fucking hilarious." But nowadays, it's kind of like, talking animals is just kind of a stretch for me.
Except for Homeward Bound, we'll always love it.
Milo noticed that I got 4 years in a row.
Did you even watch it? You got it 4 years in a row and you didn't watch it.
So, what would you guys rate this film? You think Cocaine Bear?
Cocaine Bear.
Cocaine Bear.
I'm going to give it 3.5 out of 5. I do think I know 3.5 out of 5 is just an all right score, but I do think it's my favorite new movie of the year so far that we've seen. I think it's in the same vein as Megan for me, except this is a little bit funnier than Megan to me, and it's more graphic than Megan for me. So I think I like it more than Megan, but I don't like it quite enough to give it a 4. So if I was getting technical, maybe 3.75 or some shit like that. But for the sake of simplicity, I'll give it a 3.5. What did you think, Laura?
Robert, go first.
No, Laura, go first.
Okay, well, I don't know if this is going to be a shocker or not.
5.0?
No. I was probably about up until the point of where they're at the gazebo, where it's just like, I'm giving this movie a 4. I just thought it was hilarious. Anything that can make me laugh, really, it's good.
Yeah, you're a sucker.
And Robert gave it a 1.5.
Yeah.
You
Wait,
didn't say
I thought you said up until the gazebo you gave it a 4. You didn't give it a 4.
I said
What happened after
I
the
knew
gazebo?
what I was going to give the movie when we got to that point. Like, it was...
So, already at that
Is it
point.
Yeah,
before?
already at that point.
So there was
I gave it a
nothing that the movie could have done after that point that would have changed your score. You were giving it a 4 no matter what.
I was giving it a 4.
Okay, so 4.0.
I'm trying to trust my gut as I'm watching it.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Before I give my score, I want to say I am shocked by Kurt's 3.5. I am blown the fuck away.
I was never above a 3.5.
That is
the whole time watching it.
insane to me, and I cannot believe that
Because we thought he was going to give a 4.5.
I give this movie a 4.5.
4.5?
4.5.
I literally thought I was going to shock everyone with my 4.
There's
And you're doing 4.5?
there's very minuscule things that take this away from being a 5-star film for me.
Wow.
Which,
I
which
I
is
really
the-
thought Robert was going to hate it the most. Because when we got out of the movie theater, it's like, oh, it's all right. Like,
Yeah, because I didn't want to spoil the review for
He
the
didn't
podcast.
seem like he was that thrilled about it. So your 4.5, I'm like, holy
Yeah,
cannoli.
4.5 is very high. That's like the
Yeah.
score you gave Pearl last year, which was like your favorite movie of the entire year.
Absolutely love
Well,
Pearl.
I think it's the highest
Super
score.
pumped for Maxine. I still hold true to Pearl, saying that's a 4.5. But this movie, I was going to give it a 5. I was absolutely going to give it a 5.
What knocked it for you?
The ending. I feel like the whole ending with like the bear at the waterfall and like the Ray Liotta scene, and I just feel
He
like
just needed his last bump of cocaine to be able to take Ray
Yeah.
Liotta.
it could have been a little bit stronger. Like Kurt said, the subplot thing, they went a little, too far with that. I feel like the humor was great. They had a lot of slasher elements to this movie. I feel like it all combines into this wacky, zany, gruesome film that I absolutely loved. I would watch this again. I would watch this
Yeah.
I can't
once a
wait
week
to
if you
watch it
guys
again.
wanted to.
I was almost going to say, like, we should go back to the theater and watch it without those dumbass kids.
I was thinking that
Double
because I was
feature.
always on throughout the movie. I was always on 3.5, but I was also so distracted by
Like, people talking
the
about their
people,
taxes.
the people talking about their taxes. And
The dumbass teenagers we have.
oh my god, it was so rough for me. It was a horrible crowd. I was thinking maybe if I watched this movie again, maybe I would like it even more. I really enjoyed it. I don't want to say 3.5 for me, is a very solid score.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's my favorite movie that I've watched so far this year. I had a blast with it. I did have issues with there being too many subplots, and I think sometimes the tone is a little inconsistent. But I did have a lot of fun with it, and I am very excited to watch it again.
Will it play in Dolby Cinema?
No, it's not going to play in Dolby Cinema.
Damn, I was
If
gonna say, that would be
it
really
was
fun.
going to play in Dolby
That'd be
Cinema,
really
we would
fun.
watch it in
Yeah.
Dolby Cinema last night. I'm bummed that Scream 6 isn't playing in Dolby Cinema at our
not?
AMC because we're going to have fucking teenagers ruining that shit for us too. I'm thrilled that you guys rated this movie higher than I did.
Yeah.
Because
Going into it, I'm like, I
neither
don't
of
give
you
a
were
fuck
excited.
about Cocaine
I've spent
Bear.
the last 3 months telling you guys that
He's really
Cocaine
been
Bear
trying
is
to
going
hype
to
this
slap. I've been like putting blind faith in the Cocaine Bear and swearing that you guys were going to have a good time with it.
Yeah.
And the fact that you guys liked it even more than I did makes me so happy.
I think it's funny because Kurt was like, you're going on vacation, you have to be back by Friday. Like, that.
Yeah,
We're
you
going to see
cannot
Cocaine-
miss Cocaine Bear.
Yeah.
If
We're
you
going
miss
to see
Cocaine Bear, you're
And
dead
I'm like,
to me.
I don't give a single fuck about Cocaine Bear. and I actually thoroughly enjoyed it. So I'm glad.
Okay,
I'm glad that I was back for Cocaine Bear.
So
Glad.
before we wrap this up, then I just want to confirm Cocaine Bear is unanimously our favorite film of the year so far.
What
I think
other?
so. I think if we were including TV shows, The Last of Us would have to take that. But if we're talking movies specifically,
Yeah, movies.
I think so.
Yeah, I would say
4,
probably.
4.5, and 3.5, that averages
I don't
out
think
to
I
about
gave
4.
anything that we saw in theaters a 4.
I think the
Bubble
highest
four.
rated film you've seen this year was Plane,
Which is a
maybe,
shocker,
which was
to be
3.5.
honest.
Yeah, I know that I gave Glass Onion a 4.5, but we didn't. I don't think we
Yeah.
did that.
Also,
no, that was last year.
Going back to Plane, did you guys see that article where they're going to make a sequel, called Ship?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You saw that too?
But then he,
Well, not
Mike
see
Coulter.
it. I sent
Mike
it though.
Coulter. Kurt was like, Mike Coulter is returning for the sequel.
I am kind of excited that they're gonna hopefully tie off Mike Coulter's storyline, but at the same time, it's like they should have had some kind of tie off at the end of the
Yeah.
last movie. Also, what the fuck is with the naming scheme of these movies? Ship, plane,
I don't know. I
What's
kind
the
of
next one gonna be, car?
love it.
porter potty.
I kind of love it. Fucking put Mike Coulter's character in every different kind of vehicle. Let him figure something out.
I love Mike Coulter. You could make anything with him, and I'd probably enjoy it. Other than Halo Nightfall, that was a fucking disaster. Not of any of his fault. He did a great job acting, but my god, they just can't make any live action Halo thing work for some reason.
Final question before we go.
Oh God.
If you put Mike Coulter in any vehicle and turn it into an action movie, which vehicle would it be?
I'd say one of those dumb Jeep trucks.
One of the dumb Jeep trucks? The kind of Jeep truck that you just said you wanted a couple of months ago?
What? I said that I wanted a Bronco.
Uh,
No.
I thought you wanted the Mercedes Jeep.
G-Wagon. But
G-Wagon.
yeah, but like it needs to be a certain way.
I want to put Mike Coulter in an armored train. You know the ones that like Germany had in World War II, where they had like massive cannons on it and shit.
Yeah.
Can't say that I do. I didn't really pay attention in history class.
You weren't there for World War II.
What? You weren't there for World War II? You're so offline. Mike Coulter stars in Hot Air Balloon 2025.
Go kart, Mike Coulter. Go kart.
So next week, Creed 3.
Creed
Creed
3. We've got to watch the first Creed movies for you guys.
I'll definitely watch those.
I'm so stoked. Like I said before, the Rocky movies it's my favorite movie franchise. Something that means so much to me, like on a personal level. It's meant so much to me throughout my entire life.
Literally
the first two
Kurt
Creed
about
movies. True, but the Rocky movies even more so. Take what I say about every film and amplify it by like 100. I can't wait. The first two Creed movies are fantastic. The first Creed is my favorite theatrical experience I've ever had.
Really?
The second
Wow.
Creed I actually watched by myself in the movies, which was also very cool. And I can't wait for this. Jonathan Majors is in it. He's been fantastic in everything I've seen him in. It's Michael B. Jordan's first movie as a director, which I'm excited for. And I have heard, I've always heard he's always mentioned his love for anime. And I've heard he directs some of the fight scenes like it's an anime. So I'm very excited to see what that's all about.
I'm sure it's going to be goofy.
You guys will hear all about it.
Yeah, and then we also have The Last of Us episode
This is
7?
episode 7, I believe.
I think
Yeah,
it's 7.
season's coming.
Getting close
Yeah,
to
it's
the
like
end.
this. Laura's
Last
still
Only
episode.
9 episodes.
Laura still has to watch last episode, and I
yeah.
want to rewatch it because there was actually a scene. I was listening to the radio. There's a scene in the last episode where where they're doing the overhead shot of the bridge,
Yeah.
where it's like snowy and they're crossing. Apparently, there's a scene in that where you can see part of the film
Camera.
crew.
Yeah, I read about that.
Yeah.
I didn't hear what scene it was, but I did hear that you could see the
They're
film
like
crew in a scene.
comparing
And I
it
kinda
to
wanna
the
go
Game
back
of
and
Thrones
watch that.
Star
Since
Wars.
she's
I
watching
would
it
have
anyway.
never fucking seen that from the couch.
I
because the
I
budget
didn't-
was so bad.
I didn't notice it the first
I'm
time.
gonna need a goddamn telescope or something.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys. Well, you'll hear us next week.
That's right. Tune in for Creed 3. Tune in
Creed
Wednesday
3.
for episode 7 of The Last of Us. Thank you very much for listening, guys.
Catch you guys later.
Good day, mate. Hey guys, be sure to follow us on social media. We are at Admit3Pod on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram.